36. I'm working on a custom web server in C++, and I thought today I would do some refactoring. And after today, I think I need to do a little bit more research in order to get to the next things on the plan. I was looking at my medium-term plan here, supporting transport layer security and looking into how to mitigate denial of service attacks, cooldowns, and throttling IP-based. I'm not sure if I'll get to that soon or not. I need to research TLS, and I also wanted to start researching into the API for Twitch bots. So, going to be doing some research offline to figure out my plan going ahead. Until then, I thought I'd just spend today working on some of the loose ends and some refactoring steps. So, got a bunch of things here. I'm only going to be able to stream for a couple hours because I have an appointment. We'll see how far we can get. So a lot of this was left over from, when was it? Sunday, I think? When was the 5th? Sunday. So last Sunday, we fixed a whole bunch of bugs and got about halfway through the nice to have features. Got about that much done, right? So I basically took this and moved it over into today, and then added some extra stuff at the bottom that I came up with, things that I want to do. So let's just get them in order, shall we? So this first thing is about the paths in our configuration file. Let me pull up our configuration file, take a look at it. Okay, that was something else. All right, configuration file. So in our configuration file, we have paths to the directory where our plugins are located and the directory where we make copies of those plugins to run them. And also the static content plugin has a path to where to find the files it's going to serve. What I want to do here is be able to shorten this up, make it relative to where the web server is. So if the web server is running from this directory, we should just be able to say that and that. As far as static content plugin, if the directory was this, then, I guess you can't have comments, but anyway, this is just temporary. Projects Excalibur, so 3 levels up and then down into test static content, right? So I'd like to be able to say this. So right now, if we try that, I'm sure it's not going to like it. Let's see what happens. Web server, debug web server, configuration. So yeah, right away, can't monitor that image directory. So let's go and change that. Let's see what that's called again. Plugins-image. All right, we have this plugins image path. Right, so what I think we want to do here, we have this is the relative direct. If the path is a relative path, we want it to be based off of that, and we want to support absolute paths too. So what are the different ways you could have an absolute path? You could have a single, for Windows, a single letter, like C, colon, and then a slash or backslash, right? You could also just have a slash for Unix and Linux and Mac and all that, right? So I suppose we should just scan the beginning of the string to see if it matches one of these patterns. Let's make a function for that. We'll say if plugins image path, well, if is absolute path. Let's say if it's not. And what we'll do is we'll say that that equals the parent directory of the executable, and then add a slash, and then add that path. So let's make this function. And let's see, where can we put it? Process command line arguments, reconfiguration. I'm going to put it right here. Okay. This function determines whether or not the given path string indicates an absolute path in the file system, as opposed to a relative path. This is the path to check. Hi there, BubbleDad12. How's it going? This function is going to return an indication of whether or not the given path string indicates all that is returned. Okay, so like I was saying before, I think I'm just going to do a quick and dirty way to check this. So I'll say if path.length is greater than or equal to 3, and one of two things. Which framework do I use? I am just using plain C++ with the standard library. So let me go give you a little bit of a high-level view. I'm going to make a diagram to describe this, but I started with, well, hold on. Let me turn it upside down. So at the very top is this program called web server. So it's just like any old program in C++. It's got the very bottom a main, right? But it's using this class called HTTP server. HTTP server, right here. Sorry. I should be looking at the header file. Yeah. HTTP server is the core of the web server. So it parses requests and allows you to register a handler so that when a request comes in for a certain resource, it calls a function. That function returns a response, and then that response is sent back. Okay. I'm not doing a very good job describing this, am I? Anyway, let me talk to it from the bottom up. So when I started this stream like about a month ago, I wanted to build my own web server in C++, not based on any kind of framework. So I have components, basically C++ classes that do things like parse URIs, Unicode, hash functions, JSON, and then I built upon that this library HTTP that has client and server classes for parsing requests and responses. And I use that to build this web server app. So if you're looking for an easy C++ framework, that's sort of a big open question because C++ is just a language and doesn't have a whole lot of framework around it except for its standard library, which is pretty basic. So yeah, I think sort of a hard question to answer, like what is an easy C++ framework? Hard question to answer. Let me think about this. Boost and Qt. So Boost is a collection of classes that they've actually built into the standard C++ library now. Like the concept of a shared pointer, like a reference counted pointer, is from Boost. Qt is more of a framework for building an application that has graphical elements into it. And sure, you could use Qt. There's probably lots of tutorials on using Qt to build apps. That's probably a good thing to look at. My stream is more about building stuff up with nothing more than the standard library and the basic language. So there's not going to be a whole lot of framework, except for the stuff I'm making myself. Unfortunately. Sorry about that. That was a slight interruption. Okay. Let me pull up Qt, for example. Developers, right? Okay. Training. No. What you kind of want to look for a new, like a framework of any kind, is to look for an introduction that has a tutorial. So like a getting started guide here. Yeah, this isn't the best. Okay, creating your first application. Okay, quick practice is probably a good one. Yeah, this is sort of a dense framework, I think, because they kind of assume you already know C++, right? And they're mostly focusing on showing you how to make the graphical part of your app. So where would I go if I was learning C++ from scratch? That's a good question. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. You got me. You got me with a tough one today. Yeah, let's see. What if we said basic C++ tutorial? Yeah, so I think I would, if I knew nothing about C++ and I wanted a framework, you completed core, okay. Um, or from CP reference, yeah, that's a good thing. You have to kind of build things up step by step. So you got to get comfortable with the language. And that's what they're doing here in this first chapter, right? They're going through all the different fundamental things, the basics in the language, and then data types and operators. This is actually pretty dense, actually. I don't know if I like this. You're still going through the language and you're already through chapter 10 and 11. Oh, okay. I don't like this one. Let's look for a better one. Trying to steer clear from the ones you have to pay for. Yeah, I don't like C++.com stuff. Oh, here we go. This kind of one I like because you get to like play around like live on the web page, right? And you can get to experiment. Although I wonder why it's taking so long. I guess it's just loading up. Why is this taking so long? This is fail fish, big time. Well, it looked good until this just got stuck. Okay, anyway, getting completely off track. But yeah, it's a really hard thing to recommend something to learn C++. You want to look for something that lets you play around and experiment, and then kind of walks you through the basics of the language, and then gives you like things you can actually make real programs out of. So this looks promising. It's just that this thing isn't working for me right now. Yeah. Anyway, I don't feel like I did that justice, but I'm gonna have to give up on that. So I'm sorry. Let me, if you don't mind, let me try to get back to what I was doing before. And I apologize. I feel bad that I can't really give you a good answer. So let's see. Is an absolute path. It's where the path thought the first characters. Well, it's the second character is a colon, right? Actually, you know what I'm going to do, Bubble Dad? I'm going to make this like something to look for off stream and try to get back and address later. So look for a good introduction tutorial on C++ and basic frameworks. I'll make that my quest for future stream is to try to, or maybe an off stream video to try to get a good intro, because I feel like I owe it to you. Yeah, books on Stack Overflow. It's tough though, so for someone who knows nothing to just jump into a book. So like here's what I'm thinking. There ought to be something like this out there. I already closed my window. Let me open it again. So when I first wanted to learn the React framework, you go to react.js, right? And they have, look, getting started. Take the tutorial. And this is exactly what I want to see for C++, right? Very basic. They walk you through it. Here's what it looks like, step by step, and you just follow along and you're building something, and pretty quickly you have a running program that's doing something. There's got to be stuff out there for this. I mean, like this, that's for C++. I just need to look for it. I thought this was a great way to get introduced to a new framework and a new language. So I'll make that my quest to look for something like this on C++. If not, maybe I should make one, right? Why not? Okay. How do we know if a path is an absolute path? Second character is a colon. And hold on. Hey there, Rally Monkey. You want to help me make one? If there's not something out there, we should make one. Okay. And, well, let's do it character by character. If path 0 is greater than A and path 0 is less than equal to Z, I'm just going to write it terribly inefficiently. We'll try to improve it later. This is very ugly. It's getting really ugly fast. Maybe I should just bite the bullet and use regular expressions at this point. Yeah, why not? I haven't used that at all in my stream yet. I'll totally embarrass myself about how little I know about regex. So, we're going to want to say if some regular expression, like, actually, we'll just have one. Absolute path regex dot, and then we'll just define that up here. if def win32. I just need to pull up the manual to remember how to do this. Okay. Constructs a regular, we want to, from a null terminated string, right? Okay. So it would be begins with A through Z or A through Z and has a colon and then either a slash or a backslash. And we'll say if okay, I forgot how to use this. Where's my examples? Let's see. Yeah. Match, search, match. Right, so you define your regular expression and you say if name, that's the thing to match. String first, so path, and then the regular expression. Okay, hold on. That's actually not exactly what I want, is it? Well, actually, maybe I can just expand on this and say it's that and then 0 or more characters. Yeah, I hate reading documentation for templates. Don't they have an easy example? Ah, here we go. So we want a, all right, I sort of remember this. C match for C string and S match for C++ string. Smatch. Okay, there's like 6 overloads. Let's see if I can just wing it. Nope, maybe not. Oh, okay, so with match and then regular expression. There we go. I guess we can just return. Do I even need the match object? What happens if I don't even give a match object? Huh, okay. I'm curious to see if that's all I needed to do. So I should fill in the regular expression on non-Windows. That would simply be begins with the slash or backslash. Okay. Well, let's do the same thing for plugins runtime path. This goes here. And we replace it in all those places. And then there was one more path, right? The root for the static content plugin. web server plugins, static content plugin, static content plugin.cpp. Here we go. And it's not a constant anymore. And yeah, I don't like doing this, but we'll make a copy of this. Let's document this first. This regular expression is used to determine whether or not a given path is absolute, to determine whether a given path is absolute or relative. I think I should actually move that into system abstractions. For now though, because I'm not sure if, whoop, I didn't mean to delete it. I'm not sure if it's right. I'm just going to copy it around here locally. All right. So it wasn't too long ago that there was no regular expression support in the language standard library, and you had to pull in something like Boost or third-party library to do this. But now it's formally in the standard library, so that's nice. Root goes there. Okay, let's see if this works. Actually, what I'm going to do is set a breakpoint here. And then we'll run the web server and see what happens. Oh, what happened? The regular expression's not valid. Huh. Okay. What's the code? Error brack. Okay, looks okay to me. Oh, is that's double escaped? Yeah, that needs to be double escaped. So // becomes a single backslash when you compile a C string, and in the regular expression, you have to have it 2 backslashes to be 1 backslash. It needs to, in other words, it needs to be escaped twice, and here too. That's an unfortunate problem that both C strings and regular expression strings have to have the backslash escaped. So you're ending up double escaping the thing. All right. So regular expression was good. Actually, we can look at it. What if I do absolute path regex? I wonder what it actually shows there. Visualization, okay. So you can see here 4 backslashes becomes really 2 backslashes. And then that ends up being thought of as 1 backslash when you were, if you use the regular expression. Anyway, so it should not be an absolute path. So there we go. And let me test this a little bit. Actually, you know what? Let's just do the right thing and push this into system abstractions, and then I can make nice unit tests for it. That's what I should have done from the start. So we go to system abstractions tests. Let's make it part of file. It's like file related. File tests is absolute path. And we're going to have, let's have some test vectors. So struct test vector standard string path, and then bool is absolute. And we'll have const standard vector of test vectors. So for example, c:/foo would be a true. And here's where we should have it be different between Windows and Linux. So for const auto test vector and test vectors, expect equal test vector dot is absolute should equal system abstractions. Do we want to make it part of the file class? Good question. Yeah, I think so, because a lot of these are helpers. So this is just yet another helper. File, yeah, is absolute path. Test vector dot path. So let's define this. Here are other helpers probably. Like here, static bool, and then we'll copy this from where I originally wrote it here. All right, and this is the Windows implementation of it. No static, and it's file : Actually, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually cheat and say make this a static, and then we just need to include the right header. So this, if you use static inside of a function, it makes this essentially a global variable. This one being the global variable, and how do I say this? This means it's being constructed, so we have to make a constructor call. But when does the constructor call happen? I believe it's before the program, or while the program's loading. So when you go into this function, you have to assume that this has already been constructed, like when the program started. It's not constructed every time the function is called. Scoped global variable, exactly. First time the function's called? Actually, it could be. I'm actually curious. Let me put a breakpoint there and we'll check and see. Because I would have guessed that it's when the program first starts, but I mean, you might be right. Sorry about that. Someone was at the door. Okay. Let's put in some more examples. So I want backslash also to be true, but then let's see if I just say /foo, it's false for Windows. Backslash, and then we'll have one. Oh, we don't need two, just one. And let's put in, or we have a colon slash. I mean, that's not really going to be a valid path anyway. I'm pretty sure you have to have a single character. And will be, I think on Linux or Unix, backslash is not a path separator, right? So that would be a false there. Let's try other drive letters while we're at it. And how about one where there's no colon there? All right. So let me set up system abstraction test to be the starter project. Oh, I guess I gotta wait for it to build. Okay, whatever. Now set the starter project. Okay. So let's see when that breakpoint's hit. What's going on here? Oh, okay, I think not saying's right. So when I hit go, yeah, okay, so he's right and I was wrong. It's the first time the function's called, this absolute path regex will be constructed, and the second time and subsequent times it'll already be constructed, and it's not reconstructed. So a point for not Zane and -1 point for me. System abstractions test debug system abstractions test. Absolute. There we go. Okay. I'm not feeling myself completely today because there was a party last night. And I'm still hungover. So if I'm slow or stupid today, then it's probably just going to be today. Okay. Yeah, so I think this is good to go. We can move to checking it in and then using it from the web server. Sure, do garbage collection, please, Git. Well, for me, it's the my body recovering from the alcohol. Add is absolute path function. Well, it's actually a method. Helper method. Okay. Yeah, it might have been a bad idea for me to stream today, but we'll see. Okay. We don't need this anymore. Instead, we will... Okay, I'm already including the file header, so... Don't need that. This is just system... Just, but it's a lot of typing. I wonder if this is a bad habit that I have, where I have large names for namespaces, and I put... Not put. I don't use using, so I have to repeat the namespace everywhere. I wonder if I should try to teach myself or accept the using keyword to fold namespaces. I guess it depends if other people read my code and say that this is way too much redundant typing, making it harder to read or not. Okay, this was in 2 places, right? It was here as well. Like that, and then we can get rid of this. Which means I can get rid of that. Cool. Okay, now let's try to run the web server. So I need to actually make a script for this to install the web server's plugins in the right place. So copy web server static content plugin debug static content plugin DLL web server debug plugins. Yes, and then we should copy the Chatroom one as well, even though I didn't really change anything. Okay. Web server debug web server configuration one up config.json. All right, now let's pull in this thing. Yeah. Cool. And then what happens if I misspell it? Does it actually show me? Yeah, so it's showing me the path it would have used. So because in the config file I did three dots, it took the directory the web server's executable is running in and then appended that. Cool. And then the chat room thing. To test the chat room, I got to open another shell. And in that, I got to go to chatter and then npm start. That'll take a little bit of time. Actually, while that's running, I'll just check in the code changes to web server. Right. Add support for relative path names for server configuration. Push. Working. Please wait. Success. All right. Okay. Test our chat room. Chat room still working? Connect. We are Bob. Say hello. Hello. Let's open another one. New window. Connect. Bob's already there. Let's say that we're Alice. All right. Hey guys. Okay, cool. All good. Oh, I had some changes here. What was that? Oh, using the absolute path. Using the regular. Using the relative paths. Use relative paths in server configuration. That'll be nice because now I can use the same paths on my Linux box as I have in my Windows box. Okay, what's next on my list? Update overflow checks. Oh yeah. So this is in a couple places. Wherever we do an overflow. This check here. So it turns out this check here, which detects if a number is basically too large to fit into the type that we give for it, is not really the best way to detect overflow. A better way would be to say, to check before you do the multiplication by 10, and you'd say if standard numeric limits, no, that's not the right one. It's you include, it is the right one, but I need to include the header. Include limits. If standard numeric limits decal type number max, and then what do I have here? Minus. Okay, let's let's calculate that first. So const auto digit equals that. If max minus digit divided by 10 is less than number, then it's going to overflow. And then I was talking to someone in a previous stream, and they said that this is a bit inefficient because it's checking every time where maybe it doesn't need to. So to make it even more efficient, we could look at the length of this number string and only do this kind of a check if the length is exactly the length of the number of digits in the largest integer. But that number we would have to compute because we don't really know how big size t is at runtime, because it could be, depends on which machine you compile this for. So to make it more efficient, I'd have to put a little bit more complicated looking code that would be harder to read. So I think I'm just going to say, sure, this might be a little inefficient, but we're going to keep it. Okay, so this is in a couple places, right? Yeah, here's another one. And actually, we should maybe refactor this function out because it's almost exactly the same. Let me make a note for that. What is this called? Parse. Well, collect together and refactor the various functions which parse integers from strings. Making a note to do it later. Okay, it's going to return overflow. Oh, I can just say plus digit, right? Plus digit, don't need that. All right. I guess those were the only two places. One in the server and one in the client. Oops, made a mistake. Cannot convert from initializer list to... Really? Oh, is it because this is a reference? It could be. So let's just put the type in there. Oh, what a pain. It should know what I meant. Okay, I forgot to stop the web server. I couldn't override it. Okay. Let's make sure all the tests still work. Cool. Oh, right. Use a better technique to detect integer overflow. Before an operation that may overflow an integer, perform this check. If max, basically the pseudocode is if max, well, it's not any operation, before the operation n times 10 plus d, which may overflow the result, which may cause integer overflow. From this check, if max minus d divided by 10. is less than n. Overflow. And push that. Okay. Down to number 3. Server should set close connection option in error cases where it's going to close the connection after sending a final response. Okay. I kind of remember this. Okay, that was in HTTP tests. Let me collapse everything. It's not in parsing, it's... What was this one about? Ah, yeah, that's if we ask for a close or not. I think this is one of the ones where it's where we have this expect true connection broken, or this part really. Right, an unrecoverable error. Okay, actually we already are having a connection close in there, aren't we? My favorite snack to go with alcoholic beverages. That's a tough one. How about peanut butter filled pretzels? That's what I had last night. Yummy, yummy peanut butter filled pretzels. Okay, I guess we could detect it here. So expect true, expect equal, expect true, we'll say, because we have a neato new method we could call, which is has header token. And it's header name connection, token close. So we can use that in all these places. Oh, okay, that's already built into that. Okay, let's try this out. I guess I don't really need to do anything. I'm just verifying that it already works. Okay, cool. Bitter balls. Apparently that's a Dutch snack. I do not know what bitter balls are. Am I going to regret looking it up? Oh, that looks yummy. Okay, I need to get that. I'm hungry already. That's a good one. Okay, I didn't need to do anything other than make a test for that, right? I guess I already did this before and I forgot. So we're really just beefing up our tests. Verify responses include close connection token when connection closed. Okay, next. Diagnostic messages for plugin have no sender. Yeah, so I think that's when we run our web server. It's all these messages have no sender. So what do I have down to do? Use web server? So like put web server in place there. We can do that. That's a quick one. That's in the web server. Where we handle diagnostic messages, where would that be? Actually, not where we handle them, where we generate them. Actually, here we should actually be probably generating diagnostic messages, not printing to the standard error stream. This guy. Okay, so not that file. How about this one? Okay, here we go. So it's this sender. What did I want to put there? Web server. Okay. Oh, a couple other places. And let's check plugin loader. Oh, it already uses plugin loader. All right. Okay. Cool. That was quick and easy. Use web server for diagnostic messages from plugin.cpp. All right, so I'm only going to stream another hour because I have an appointment at 2, but I'll probably start streaming again later if I feel up to it. Depends. Depends on how the interview goes. I'm talking to a recruiter. So I'm just giving myself a little time check. Got 1 hour left. Next. Okay, missing documentation. Yeah, let's get through that. Yeah, well, my last job ended, and I just put my status up on LinkedIn, and like right away, I got 2 recruiters who wanted to talk to me. So I didn't have to do anything other than say, "Sure, I'll talk to you. What time?" And they gave me a time, and I get to call them. Only real work I had to do was update my resume, which I needed to do anyway. Okay, string extensions. Yeah, I told them at first, how about what did I say, like 4 o'clock? And they said, "Oh, that's too late." And I said, "Well, I'm streaming on Twitch from noon to 4. I could break up my broadcast and call you at 2." And he's like, "Sure." And I kept thinking, is he going to ask what is Twitch, or what are you on Twitch for, or what's the URL? But he never did. So I don't know. We'll see. The last recruiter who called me didn't even really know anything about the company I worked for, even though it was in LinkedIn. They never looked it up, so I was kind of not impressed. I've been told not to expect much from recruiters who cold call you, but at least I get some practice talking to them. What was I doing? Oh, system abstractions. We had, I remember how to do this. So if I search for to do, I find them all. This is related to another thing on my to-do list. Duh, because it says to do. But anyway, here It's these ones that match this list here. Right, so this is a bad habit I used to have where I would just say, oh, I'll write it later and never get back to it. So trying not to do that anymore. Only have, what is this? 8 that I needed to do, and I'll be down to 0. This is a method. This is state. So this method loads the dynamic library from the this loads the dynamic library from storage, linking it into the running program. Param input path. This is the path to the directory containing the dynamic library. Well, it's dynamic, yeah. Full name would be dynamic link library, but dynamic library for short. This is the name of, and it's really not the whole name, is it? It's without the file extension. This is the name of the dynamic library. And what about on Linux? Let's look at that in VS Code. There's a prefix, right? A prefix. Right, that's what it looks like there. Oh, that's the suffix. Yeah, see, there's a prefix that's not included either. This is the name of the dynamic library without any prefix, suffix, or file extension. The reason for that is I want the code using this library to just have a single name that's cross-platform, and then let the system abstractions library put in this special prefix in the case of POSIX, or file extension in the case of Windows. Okay, it does return something. Believe it's an indication of whether or not the library was successfully loaded and linked to the program is returned. This one's the opposite. This method unlinks the dynamic library from the running program. Yeah, that's basically what it does. And I should have a note here. Do not call this method until all objects and resources from the library have been destroyed. And resources might include threads, heap memory, well, I'm just gonna say threads. I'm not actually sure if it matters if you leak memory from a library that you've dynamically linked. I think the loader might just take care of it for us, but definitely if a thread is still running in the code for the library, it would be bad if you unloaded the library in the middle of that. Otherwise, the program may crash. There's no guard, there's no way we can really know at this level. We kind of leave it up to the user. Okay, get procedure. This method locates the procedure or function in the library that has the given name. And returns its address. This is the name of the function in the library to locate. the address of the given function in the library is returned. Ret val null pointer. This is returned if the loader could not find any function the given name in the library. And I should put a note here. Hopefully it's obvious. This method should only be called while the library is loaded. Gotta load it first before you can get procedures out of it. Okay, moving on to string extensions. Indent. Actually, don't I have more than one copy of that function? Maybe I don't. Seem to recall having more than one of that, but anyway. This function, what does it actually do? Right, it breaks it up into lines, indents them, and then reforms it into a single string. This function breaks up the given string into lines. Well, according to any end of line character sequences found in the string. And that's specifically CRLF. Indents. Does it indent every line? It's the spaces. Okay, so it indents everything after the first line. Indents all lines except the first. And then concatenates the lines back together, returning them as a single string. This is the string containing the lines to indent. This is the number of spaces to indent each line but the first. The indented text is returned as a single string. Okay. Parse element. Yeah, I remember. This one is a bit complicated. It's used to chop off the next bit of like JSON without stopping too early, right? So how would I phrase that? This function, and it doesn't modify the, yeah, it doesn't modify stuff. So this function returns a substring of the given string that contains the next fully delimited element, such as a string, array, object, etc. Given recognized pairs, delimiter pairs. Given the following recognized delimiter pairs. So double quotes string. And what else do we have? Okay, we also have to remember it also handles escaped characters. Okay, and it stops at a comma at the top level. So brackets, array. Actually, it doesn't really care. So double quotes, brackets, braces, angle brackets, is that what you call them? And then parentheses. Escaped characters are skipped even if they are or escaped delimiter characters are not considered delimiters. Such as backslash. Well, how do I say this? Like that. Not considered delimiters. This is the string from which to extract the next delimited element. It breaks only on a comma, and it'll stop also if we reach the end. Oh, or if we break out. Yeah. So the element is considered the end of the element. Well, any comma or delimiter or outermost delimiter encountered while scanning the string is, well, is considered to terminate the element. I don't know if this is the best description, but the idea is that you take a string and you scan it, and each time you call parse element, it gives you another single element, and that element might be a composite element. Am I using the right words? Is that, what's a composite pattern say? I need to look this up. Composite pattern. So make sure I'm using the right words. Component, not element. And they use leaf instead of what I would say is element. So I'll use their words. Component, leaf, and composite. Delimited component. I don't want to read. Oh, hold on. If I use this not too many places, maybe I'll say component. Yeah, let's rename it. Parse component. Because a component could be a composite or a leaf. This returns a substring, the given string that contains the next fully delimited component, such as string, array, object, etc., given the following recognized delimiter pairs. Escape delimiter pairs are not considered delimiters. Any comma or outermost delimiter encountered while scanning string is considered to terminate the component. Right. That makes sense. So let's just apply the renaming. So yeah, here this is illustrating it. So if we start on character 9, which is right here, then the component is this. And then actually it includes the end delimiter. In other words, you don't stop when you get to that because there's an inner component. So this is a composite with one leaf component inside. That makes sense? And then the idea is you call it again and you get that part. Hope that makes sense. And this is there. Oh, my strings are more than 80 characters long. This is the starting position from which to scan the next component. Okay, there is an end. What does the test use the end for? Okay. It is an end. This is the limit to which the string will be scanned to determine the next component. Okay. 3 more, and these ones are a bit easier. This function returns a string where every character in the given characters to escape. Whoa, what happened there? Returns a string where every character in the given characters is to escape that is found in the input string. This function returns a copy of the given input string, modified so that every character in the given character's escape that is found in the input string is replaced or is prefixed by the given escape character. This is the string to escape. Well, this is the input string, really. Escape character. This is the character to put in front of every character in the input string that is a member of the characters to escape set. These are the characters that should be escaped in the input. Param. Actually, how many times do I have that misspelling in my code base? 2 places. And they're all just in the last minute. Okay. Occasionally I'll do that and I'll find that I misspelled it like days previous in some other library and I didn't notice. Okay. A copy of the input string is returned where every character in the given characters to escape that is found in the input string is prefixed by the given escape character. Yeah, okay. On escape is the reverse. This function removes... Actually, does it just remove the escape character? Yeah, that's all it does. This function removes the given escape character from the given input string, returning the result. Parma again. This is the string from which to remove all escape characters. This is the character to remove from the given input string. A copy of the given input string with all instances of given escape character removed is returned. Okay, one more. split. Yeah, okay. Split. This function returns a collection of substrings. Well, really, what it does, this function breaks the given string into a collection of substrings. This breaks the given string at each instance of the given delimiter, returning the pieces as a collection of substrings. Parma again. I got keyboard issues. This is the string to split. This is the delimiter character at which to split the string. The collection of substrings that result from breaking the given string at each delimiter character is returned. Okay, the delimiter characters are removed. I believe that's true. Okay, any more to-dos, or can I move on? Okay, I can move on. That's good, because I get tired of doing documentation. Let's make sure I didn't break anything. Should just be all in the comments. Cool. Okay. I did rename something, so add documentation and rename parse element to parse component to follow the component pattern or composite pattern. Do I have that in my notebook, by the way? Names, patterns. I don't. Why not? I do have it. I just didn't see it. All right. Good. I'll make sure I had that there. Okay, next. Okay, this one is a little bit more interesting. So I made this JSON object function, like a factory function, to build JSON objects a little bit in a more nice way. So for example, we can build a complete JSON object from something that almost looks like JSON itself, rather than where we do what set, where we do this kind of thing. So the idea is everywhere I used to do it this way, we can instead say this: const auto response equals JSON object, and we can say type leave nickname. Right? Maybe a little bit easier to read. Well, how does it compare actually? We're just removing these response.sets. And we don't have to say JSON type object and all that stuff. We can just a little bit more abbreviated. Web server chatroom debug chatroom tests. Let's make sure that doesn't break. Okay, then we'll do the same kind of thing in all the places. Yeah, so here. We need to keep that set though. Here's another place. Type leave, and then this part here. Yep. And then here, the join instead of a leave. And new nickname instead of old. Okay. Okay, so it's not const here. Type nicknames. Okay. Type tell. And sender. Config space chatroom path. Okay, that can be const. Type set. Oh, hold on. Just noticed the bug. Back up to here. Oh, where was that? 303? That's not in quotes, is it? All right. Okay. So we have it again here. So expected response. This repeats too, so it's not const. Join nickname Bob. And then expected response 2, set nickname result success true. Type get nicknames. And then this thing. It's a marginal improvement, I think. This seems like I've typed this before. Feel like I've typed that before. Okay. Okay. This is a bit tedious, isn't it? Well, sometimes programming is tedium. Occasionally I'll try to get clever and have scripts to do this, but I'll only really do it if there's an obvious way to do it. Oh, no quote there. Actually, for here we can just say JSON array empty. Midway through. And how many more of these do I have? Got a lot. Okay, maybe I won't do them all. Or save them for later. I'll break up the tedium by only doing some of it. Continue replacing JSON set with a JSON object in Chatroom plugin tests. I'll just do a little bit at a time. We'll do that much for now. How about that? Make sure nothing broke. All right. And overall, so what changed? Just the chat room? Hold on. What did that say? 0 tests failed. That's what I'd like to see. 0 tests failed. Okay. I did the code. It was the test that had too much of that for me to stomach at once. Begin replacing what step? Building of JSON objects with JSON object factory. Begin but not finish. I want to move on to something different. What's next? Replace shared pointer with references on methods. Oh yeah, so this is a viewer suggestion that I use shared pointer too much, which is true. We don't really want to use shared pointer for parameters where we don't actually need to hold a reference. So we're going to be searching for shared pointer and going through and seeing, are there any that we can just replace with a reference? So this is in a ton of places, right? Oh, maybe not a ton. 127 places where we say shared pointer. Let's go through them all. Okay. Here's one. Like, do we need to hold on to request? Yeah, so here we don't, right? We don't have to hold on to request. So this can just be a reference to a request. In fact, I think it can be a const reference. Connection, I think, is different. Connection, the WebSocket holds onto, so we do need a reference. Okay, this we remove the star. So there was one shared pointer that we eliminated. Okay, here's another one maybe. Yeah, so resource handlers, I don't think they need to mutate the request at all. So we should just pass them by const reference. That's going to be in a couple different places, I think. We need all that. Yes, yes. Okay, here. Resource delegate. Yeah, right. So this can be const request, just like in the last place we were looking at, which was where? Here. Right. Okay. Next. We are holding references there. Parse request, yes. Yep. Yeah, we're passing off the reference to be held later, yes. Okay, so here again, I think we do not mutate oh no, we do remutate response. We don't hold on to reference to it though. So we can turn this one into a reference that's not const. And then these arrows just become dots. Okay, yes and yes. Yeah, that's holding a reference, yes. Okay, here again, I think this is a non-const reference because we're modifying it here, method, and here. And one more. All right. Connection, yes, yes. Yep, yep. Okay, here, what do we need? Okay, we are holding on to references there. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I think here again, we're not holding a reference, we're just mutating it. Yeah, so this one can just be a reference. There's going to be a lot of these actually. So what if I reduce the tedium by search replacing within the selection? Request arrow becomes request dot. 32 places. Okay, that's a lot of removing tedium. Cool, I like it. Next, try request assembly. I think the connection state is not held, right? Or let's see, what does start next request do? No, it doesn't. So this can be just a reference. And yeah, we're going to do the same kind of search replaced here. Connection state arrow. It wasn't case sensitive there, but it doesn't matter. Okay, what did it not like about this one? Oh, that's parse request. It's a shared pointer, and we want a reference to it. Yes. Okay, this one can also be a reference. And same search replace here. Okay, next. Working our way through it. Issue response. Believe that neither of these need to be shared pointers. Oh, hold on connection broken. Does that need a shared pointer? No, it doesn't. Oh, yes it does. Okay, so here's a case where we can't make connection state a reference because issue response might move the connection state in the case of a close. But response doesn't have to be a shared pointer, it can just be a reference. All right. Right, this one is moving it to another set, so it does need to be a shared pointer. How about this one? Okay, also it's potentially dropping the connection, so it has to be shared pointer. Right, so this, yes. Or are we? This doesn't, this doesn't, no, resource handler does return a shared pointer. Yeah, and that's important, I think. Yeah, because we want we want null to be handled, right? Where does it check if there's null? It doesn't. Is it allowed to be null? I don't think it's allowed to be null, so why? We don't really need to return a shared pointer, do we? I think I just do this for, so to avoid a copy. But it should support move, right? Let's see. Does response support move? I think it does by default. So, hold on. So maybe we can make this just return a response. Is that something we can do now, or let me think about this. I think that's safe. So hold on. Let me search again for shared pointer. Okay, and I got 10, 15 minutes left. I don't know if I'll finish this task. I might have to pick this up next time. Because what are we down to? 117? But a lot of these we're skipping, right? And I can hit F8 to... Oh, and this... I think we don't need a shared pointer for that either. We can just do this. And this should be copy alighted, right? I assume. All right, okay. So F8. Okay. Yeah, here we need we either get a response or we don't. So actually, let me search for that. Client. Yeah, we either return one or we don't. Yeah, well, I'll leave that as a shared pointer. Or should it be a unique pointer? Well, who knows? It's someone who calls parse response might want to share it with someone else. So yeah, anyway. So connections are all handled. That this we're keeping a shared pointer for now at least, so it can return null. Same thing with request. Okay, yes, yes. That can return a null. Okay, this is, I believe that was, we said that was a const, right? And then this just returns a response. That's going to be in a couple places, isn't it? Yep. Okay, I'll continue for another 5 minutes. I don't know if I'll get everything, get all these done. Actually, I know I won't. We'll go a few minutes more and then I'll recap and I'll talk about what I'm continuing next time, which, yeah, this stuff should take a bit, right? Yeah, so this will probably be the subject of the next stream, either tonight or tomorrow. So let's see. See if I can finish this before I run out of time. response arrow. Okay. Oh, I missed one. Okay. Aha, here's another one. Okay. Next. Okay, yeah, this goes here. More. Where is the, oh, here it is, response. Okay, there's a lot of search replaces to do there. Okay, next. Okay, yes, those are all good. Okay, these all look like they need to be shared pointers. Yep. That could probably be a unique pointer. But I don't know if you can use a lambda function with unique pointer. Thought there was a problem with that. Barky bark. Finish open as client. Oh, this one doesn't need that shared pointer, does it? Oh, no, it does. It holds on to it. Right there. Yeah, okay, so we need that one. Yep, we need all those. Oh, okay, that was it. Okay, cool. So I'm sure that a lot of things won't compile though because all the callers we have to go through and change them. Yeah. So one at a time. Parse response. Yeah, so here it's give it a reference. I think same thing here. Oh. Actions. Yeah, so this is just, these are all dots, right? Yep. Just a lot of referencing and dereferencing we have to add. Oh, what is this? Okay. I don't see. Oh, no, hold on. I do see. Do I? Do I see? I don't know. Okay, where is request here? Okay, it is a shared pointer, but yeah, this one doesn't need a shared pointer. And then, yes, so here where's response? It can just be response. This should do a move constructor. Yep, okay, cool. Move constructor. And then, why are we making a new one there? Is it because this is in a loop? No? I don't know why. We don't need that line at all. Okay. I actually probably need to stop here. Let me stop here, and then I'll just do a recap and talk about what I'll do next time. So, yeah, I started off kind of slow and unsteadily today, but my goal was to do a bunch of refactoring and cleanup. And I got through a fair number of things. So, they're all miscellaneous little things that aren't in and of themselves that interesting. It was just, you got to get through them all, improve our code, and probably need to do another pass through the code to make sure that it's, good and readable, and if not, do some more refactoring. So I got roughly down to there, and then I'm in the middle of this one. I'll need to finish that when I start up next time, and then we'll get to doing some of these things. So calculating energy tags, we're doing a simple checksum right now. It's not strong enough, so we'll use this hash function, which we have now. Handling breaking of connections, right now we don't handle clean closes, so we'll need to do that. And then I found a bunch of places, basically old code I wrote years ago, that I need to go back and apply the rule of 0 or 5 to clean up the lifecycle stuff. So I'll be getting to that next time. Alright, so I'm going to wrap it up for today. Probably continue tomorrow or maybe tonight if I'm feeling better, but still feeling kind of out of it today. But I hope you enjoyed watching, and we'll be sticking with C++ next time. Eventually I want to get back into React and also want to put some of this stuff up for you guys to play with. But I will catch you guys next time. Let's see if we can host someone else, just in case anyone's watching and I can pass you guys off. Let's see. Who is on right now that I know? Well, Kit Boga's still going. Maybe we should just pass it off to him. If you haven't heard of Kit Boga, he is scamming the scammer, so to speak. So he calls tech scammers and tries to waste their time. So we'll go host him, since if you haven't seen it, it's really entertaining, and it's actually doing it for a good cause, helping to raise awareness for these tech scams. So we'll go host him. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.